WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. A traffic stop in Louisville ends with 2 arrests and the seizure of drugs, thousands of dollars in cash and guns. 51-year-old Warren Goss and 27-year-old Aaron Hughes are facing a number of charges, including several counts of trafficking a controlled substance, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Officers stopped the two Thursday for a tent violation. During the stop, officers found drugs in the car valued at more than $20,000. Take a look. They seized 76 grams of alleged cocaine, more than 300 grams of marijuana, 425 hydrocodone pills, more than 800 ecstasy pills, and 6 oxycodone pills. They also found more than $26,000 in cash and 2 guns. If you have any information on this case, contact the Louisville Police Department or Winston County Crime Stoppers. 2 inmates have died at Parchman this week. Officials from the Mississippi Department of Corrections say 1 inmate was found Thursday, the other today. It's believed the 2 inmates died of natural causes. MDOC officials say there is no evidence of foul play in either death. Both inmates' names are being held pending notification of families. Their bodies are being sent to the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's office for autopsies. A plan to attack 1 man backfires on the alleged suspects after an unintended target is shot in the back of the head. Now a father and a son are facing criminal charges. 45-year-old Donald Denton Sr. and 23-year-old Donald Denton Jr. are both charged with aggravated assault. The shooting happened at County Road 100 in Nettleton. This bizarre case started just before 2 o'clock this morning. Investigators say a man told them he was lured to County Road 100 by the female victim and the 2 suspects. Sheriff Jim Johnson says the victim and the Dentons were planning to attack the man after they allegedly got him to come over. The man told police he got to the address but did not get out of his vehicle. In an attempt to get out, investigators say the woman got into the vehicle trying to get him to come inside. While both were inside the vehicle, the sheriff's deputies say the 2 suspects fired a shotgun and a rifle into the vehicle, hitting the woman in the back of the head. She was taken to North Mississippi Medical Center for treatment. Right now, there's no word on her injuries or if she will be facing any charges. A Sulligent man will spend the next 20 years in jail after pleading guilty to drug charges. Darren Woods pled guilty to 1 count of possession of a controlled substance with the intent to distribute. Woods was arrested in October of 2018 after a narcotics investigation by Sulligent police. He'll be in the custody of the Alabama Department of Corrections. Volunteer firefighters spent the morning battling a fire at 2 separate homes in Lowndes County. The first call came at around 9 o'clock from Nashville Ferry Road. When the fire department got there, flames were showing in the mobile home. There were people home at the time, but Lowndes County Fire Coordinator Neil Austin says no one was injured. District 3 volunteers requested backup from the Columbus Fire Department. This investigation has been referred to the State Fire Marshal. A second fire on Border Springs Road is also a loss for homeowners. That, according to Austin, that fire is also under investigation. A longtime Lowndes County deputy is putting down the badge. Billy Wood is retiring from the Sheriff's Department after 34 years. Wood has served under 5 sheriffs during his career. County officials and law enforcement from around the area celebrated with Woods today at the Sheriff's Department.
It's been a pretty nice Friday around here, a mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures getting back into the mid and upper 50s, and currently a view across our region with our Alpha Insurance camera network. Not too many problems, but we're noticing in Tupelo some clouds increasing from the north, and there's a little weather disturbance that will move across North Mississippi and northwestern Alabama over the next couple of hours, and that will give rise to the chance for a few isolated showers here. But in general, not a lot of moisture is expected. We will cool down into the 40s later on this evening. The better rain chances here from about mid-evening through just after midnight, northeastern parts of our coverage area. But all of that clears out by the time you wake up, 7 o'clock, 37 degrees and sunny. Tomorrow, back up to around 60, bright sunshine, but we do have more rain and storms in the forecast. We'll talk about that coming up.
Governor Tate Reeves says while the coronavirus could have some impact on the Magnolia State, he doesn't believe the effects will be widespread or long-term. The governor says state agencies and business leaders are carefully monitoring the outbreak that, of course, started in China. Furniture manufacturers and other businesses get some parts and supplies from China, and the governor says there may be some initial impact on shipments of goods, but he believes Mississippi manufacturers have plans in place to deal with any issues the coronavirus may cause.
Just in the last 2 or 3 days, the stock markets in the U.S. have declined in value fairly significantly, and a big reason for that is not only the inability to get those in China who are producing product to do so, it's also China is a very large percentage of the world population, and so as consumers, if they are shut down and not working and therefore not earning wages, the fear is that the global demand is going to decline as well. And so again, it's all speculation at this point, and we're going to have to navigate our way through it. But I'm confident in the American worker and certainly the Mississippi worker, and in the long term I think we'll be just fine.
So far, there have been no reported cases of coronavirus in Mississippi. Well, all this week, members of a Northeast Mississippi-based ministry have been rolling up their sleeves to help flood victims in the Jackson area. In part 2 of his series, Finding Hope, Allie Martin introduces us to volunteers who come from all across the country and all walks of life.
For several days on the Jackson relief trip, Gail Manning was busy assessing flood damage to homes and filling out paperwork. And another day, he was maneuvering a bobcat, helping clear debris from a yard.
God's put it on my heart to go out and serve people, and this is the way I want to serve people now.
Manning is retired from the U.S. Marshals Service and is a part-time investigator with the Union County Sheriff's Department. He has been volunteering with 8 Days of Hope since 2016 and enjoys helping people whose lives have been turned upside down by a natural disaster like the recent floods in Jackson.
Once you get there, you pray with them. We always pray with the family members. If they're there, if they're not there, we're going to circle up and pray as volunteers for safety and for the family there. And when you go there or when you get ready to leave, they got a smile on their face. They know there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Volunteers hear about 8 Days of Hope in many different ways, some through Christian radio, others through their churches. And one law enforcement officer from Pennsylvania heard that a group of folks were coming to his town to help after a flood, and he was skeptical.
I didn't know if they were a bunch of scam artists or no idea who they were. Looked good on the internet, so we spent some time with them. And we fell in love with the people, the organization, and so now we are doing mission trips. This is our 5th trip.
And once Westover retires in a year and a half, he and his wife plan to volunteer full-time with 8 Days of Hope. Volunteers don't have to have any special abilities, just availability.
They need somebody to talk to because it's just so much that a lot of times it's all built up in them, and they'll come in. Just yesterday our homeowner came in and she just had so much of it built up from the storm, and she let it all out, and she's felt so much peace since she let it out, and we just praise God together with her.
8 Days of Hope volunteers come from all walks of life and different parts of the country, but they all enjoy sharing their Christian faith with others through word and deed. In Jackson, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
She's from Rhode Island.
8 Days of Hope will work in the Jackson area on flood-damaged homes through March the 7th. Well, volunteers who travel with 8 Days of Hope have to spend very little money to make those trips thanks to partnerships with area churches. For the Jackson Rapid Response trip, volunteers are staying at the Mississippi District offices and campground for the United Pentecostal Church International. The facilities include bunk houses, a dining hall, and meeting spaces. The partnerships allow volunteers to serve without having to spend a lot of money.
If they can get to the location, they've got someplace to stay and they are fed. Every time it's a different situation, and we've been blessed a lot of times with, always having someplace good to stay and a good facility to be able to feed them and a good facility for preparing the meals.
Volunteers must be 18 years old to serve on rapid response trips, but entire families often join the larger rebuilding efforts, usually months after a natural disaster, when teams will help rebuild homes free of charge. When we come back, we wrap up our look at Black History Month in a tasty way. We'll visit a few spots that feed the bodies and souls of the community. Welcome back. Throughout Black History Month, we've been looking at institutions, formal and informal, in the African American community. Tonight, we have a seat at the table to see how Black-owned restaurants have been feeding bodies and souls for generations. Our DeAndrea Turner took a trip to a few locally owned eateries to see what they're serving up.
I cook with love.
Helen Kareem has been cooking since she was just barely tall enough to reach the stove. That early start is what inspired her to open up her own restaurant. She opened the doors to Helen's Kitchen more than 30 years ago. She says there's meaning in every meal.
I think it shows what type of person that I am, and it shows what my mama did, the same thing. She enjoyed cooking, she enjoyed her food tasting good, and that's the pleasure that you get out of it, people enjoying the food that you cook. You put love in it.
Up the road in Oxford, another soul food sanctuary. She's affectionately known as Mama Jo.
And it was a dream for me. You know, and my goal was to set out to do just what my dream was.
She's been serving meals and memories for more than 20 years.
My food tells lots of stories. We have many of them. I think it reaches souls.
She says her owning a business is making a way for future generations.
My rights was to fight for those rights that, you know, hey, this could be done by Black people. It could be, you could be a Black person owner or anything you like to do if you put your effort and force to it.
That effort, with lots of love mixed in, keeps Helen's Kitchen and Mama Jo's fixing food that nourish the body and the soul.
And Miss Helen even shared one of her homemade recipes. You can go to our website, wcbi.com, to get that recipe. And you know what, Keith? We're all hungry now, aren't we?
Well, it's dinner time, right?
It's dinner time.
Are we hungry or are we hangry, as they say?
We're moving toward the hangry mark.
It's late on a Friday. It's ready to go. Time to get some food. All right, next week we have a chance for some rain and storms around here Tuesday and Wednesday. We're going to keep you updated on that going through the weekend, but getting out ahead of it, you may want to step by our preparedness event tomorrow morning at Academy Sports in Tupelo. We'll be there talking about that system programming weather radios. We'll hope to see you there. Your full forecast is next.
WCBI First Alert AccuWeather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
I think we're all about ready to say goodbye to winter officially. Winter will hang on for a few more weeks, but meteorological spring actually starts on Sunday, March 1st, and that spring is March, April, and May for us in the weather business. But we are going to start to moderate things and usher in some more spring-like storms early next week. There's our time lapse from downtown Columbus today. Absolutely spectacular. Some friendly clouds at Durham's Pharmacy in Vernon. No issues whatsoever. A tad bit breezy, but we can handle it considering the weather we've had. Some showers here northeast of Memphis in West Tennessee. They're making a beeline to the southeast. Some of that could graze far northeastern parts of our area later on this evening. You can see that disturbance coming to the southeast, but most of us, especially south of Tupelo, will not have a chance of any rain here. So we will keep the mention of rain, especially in the northeastern counties, going this evening. By the time you wake up, I think we are sunny and somewhere in the 30s. Here's our hour-by-hour forecast, and notice how the northeastern counties the best chance for any shower activity this evening. Scattered clouds everywhere would appear, at least a chance thereof. 30s when we wake up as we get into tomorrow afternoon. By midday into the 50s in many spots. Low 60s southwest tomorrow, probably hanging a little bit cooler in the 50s in the northeast. And then the clouds will start to filter on in as we get into your Sunday. But notice those temperatures there, probably in the upper 60s. We're watching a big system potentially for next week. It's getting a little bit better organized out there in the Pacific Northwest. That's a long ways away. Heavy rain is possible here Tuesday and Wednesday. We're still thinking a chance of 2 to 5 inches of rain. We just have these events after event after event. They just keep on coming here. Another chance for some severe weather, too. Probably Tuesday night. But the model data is still inconsistent, so stay tuned this weekend for updates on the situation. But somewhere there's going to be a stripe of some very heavy rain with some embedded strong storm activity at some point, we do believe. So we have a frontal boundary coming on in, moisture pooling back in with the front. And that's just a setup for more unsettled weather here going into next week. Here's your AccuWeather 7-day forecast. So mostly sunny tomorrow, around 60. Let's just go with 60 as an optimistic number for us. 68 on Sunday, more clouds, but it will be warmer. Low 70s Monday and Tuesday as that system gets organized, Andrea. Behind it, we're thinking some drier weather by the end of next week.
All right, I've got some work to do tomorrow. Maybe go outside and do it.
Do it.
Yeah,
Get it done.
It's going to be nice. All right, coming up, high school basketball quarterfinals continuing on this evening. Highlights from the early games when we come back.
Your WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
10th ranked Mississippi State picking up a much needed win over Arkansas 92-83 last night. And barring anything crazy happening on Sunday against a SEC winless Ole Miss team, the Bulldogs will be the 2 seed in the conference tournament beginning next week, which is great news for State. It means a double bye and plenty of time to prepare since the Dogs won't play until Friday. Even though State is pretty much locked into that 2 seed spot, the Dogs not planning on letting up against the Rebels this Sunday.
We're still looking to get better every game, regardless of who we're playing, regardless of, you know, the seeding in the tournaments. We want to get better for March, and we still got a ways to go. And I feel like we could be a different team in March as well.
I think what last night shows is that we've got some competitive kids, and we're not, you know, I think if you didn't play, you watch some people that maybe haven't played a lot, and now all of a sudden they played a lot and played well. And so, you know, you better not sit around. You better stay humble and stay hungry, because I think there's some kids that are hungry.
Again, barring complete insanity ensuing throughout the weekend, this is currently what we're looking at for the SEC Women's Tournament next week. The tournament runs from Wednesday, March 4th through Sunday, March 8th. Ole Miss will take the 14 seed, meaning the Rebels will match up to the 11 seed, which right now is Missouri. That game will be on Wednesday at 12:30 Central. Meanwhile, MSU earning that coveted double bye with the 2 seed. The matchup remains to be determined until Thursday. However, whatever the turnout may be, State will play at 5 p.m. Central Time. Over on the Diamond, Ole Miss playing its first weekend on the road. Day 1 of the Keith LeClaire Classic. The Rebels taking on High Point. Ole Miss pulling off the win 6-2. Pitcher Doug Nikhazy with 5 strikeouts, 4 hits, 2 runs, and 2 errors in his 5.2 innings on the mound. Next up, Ole Miss is set to play East Carolina in Day 2 of the weekend tournament that Saturday at 3:30 p.m. And the Diamond Dogs also on the road for the first time this season. State playing a weekend series out west against Long Beach State, which means if you're looking to watch tonight's game, you'll have to deal with those lovely Pacific time zones. First pitch for Game 1 is 8 p.m. tonight. That's available to watch on the BigWest.TV website. Right-handed pitcher Carlisle Kessler is named the probable starter for Mississippi State this evening. Over on the hardwood, quarterfinals actions continues. Ripley taking on Northeast Lauderdale. Lady Tigers start out in a blaze. Amelia Leichhardt, the hatch to Summer Kirkman in the corner for 3. Ripley opens the game on an 8-0 run. Lady Trojans answer with a run. Brittany Wells in the high post goes right to the cup for 2. 6-2 run tightens the gap. But the first quarter belonging to Kirkman. 3 first-quarter triples. Ripley advances to the 4A semifinals, 57-42, your final. And over at ICC, Belmont taking on Ruleville in quarterfinal action. We jump to the 4th. Ole Miss commit Jacoria Bracey splits the double team. Floater, it's 42-40 Ruleville, and a minute and a half to go. Cassie Grimes with the assist to Macy Walker for the finish off the glass. It's tied up at 46. 10 seconds remaining. Cardinals down 4. Grimes finding Walker, pulling up for 3. Splash. It's 50-49 Ruleville, and a chance for overtime. Down by 3. Walker pulls up, misses the bucket at the buzzer. Belmont falls to Ruleville 52-49. The Cardinals finish the season with a 28-5 overall record.
Oh, the excitement.
Yes.
Gosh.
Love those buzzer beaters. Would have loved for them to make that one, though.
Yeah. Can't believe the high school basketball season winding down.
I can't believe it's almost March. I feel like I'm still in football season almost.
When we see each other again, it will be March indeed.
Yes.
After tonight, we'll be back with the last look at the forecast. Happy Cake Day it is for Mississippi State. This was a birthday celebration for the university. The 142nd anniversary for MSU, as a matter of fact. Students, alumni, faculty, and staff were all invited to the Hunter Henry Alumni Center to be a part of the festivities and to celebrate the accomplishments over the years.
Through our long history of service to the state of Mississippi and the people of Mississippi, and being a resource for citizens of the state of Mississippi through our extension program and all the great things that we're trying to accomplish for our citizens and for our students and alums, and something that we can all be proud of, the impact that our university is having on the state of Mississippi.
Today's birthday celebration was sponsored by the MSU Alumni Association. This was inside, but it would have been just fine outside today.
Great thing to be outdoors today, tomorrow as well. Around 60, clouds increase Sunday. Notice how the temperatures will go up. Detroit out there, more clouds, better rain chances and some storms next week as we roll on into March.
And the really great thing about next week is daylight saving comes
next
back.
Sunday.
Oh, it's my favorite time of year. I love when the days get longer.
I absolutely love it. Can't wait. All right, that is the news at 6 o'clock. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody.